Welcome to the Alpha Nerd Podcast. I'm your main host, Kyle, along with my cinema co-host, Dan.
Hello.
So, may the 4th be with you.
Oh, yeah, right back at you, buddy.
So, I figured we'd do something special for the May the 4th. Incidentally...
I'm sorry, Kyle, but it has lost its luster over the last decade or so.
That's because of the other movies. We just watched, earlier today, the newest Acolyte trailer, which came out today.
It was something else.
It was awful looking.
Look, I usually can't blame the actors for that sort of thing.
I can.
Well, some of them. Like, what's her name from the Seven Dwarfs thing?
Oh,
I don't know her name.
Zegler.
Yeah, Rachel Zegler?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes. So, we watched that, and it's looking to be more or less a detective show.
I don't know if it's more or less. It's basically what? A Padawan who's left her master, or is she a knight? Is that what wasn't clear?
I think it was like an apprentice of some sort that left her master because she came disillusioned.
That's the name for it, the Padawan.
Yeah.
You didn't know that.
I wasn't sure if apprentice was different then.
No, they usually call them apprentices for the Sith people.
Oh, okay.
And Padawans for the
you're right.
Jedi.
You're right. So, it's looking to be she became disillusioned with the Jedi Order, and she's rebelling against it by murdering Jedi. While she's on a revenge kick against Jedi because I guess they're not as clean cut or innocent as.
Well, the trailer's pretty vague.
Yeah.
It doesn't really indicate necessarily she's the one doing it.
Oh no, they showed her trying. They showed her trying to kill somebody.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that it's like
guaranteed her.
Maybe she's doing a different thing separately.
And then because they said on another run, so it's gonna be kind of like
because there's another part where they said there's somebody killing Jedi.
Yeah.
But she never successfully killed any of the Jedi.
Yeah, it never shows her successfully killing anybody.
So it might be that she's like, and then when they showed the person with the red lightsaber, it didn't show her. So they're trying to keep it
in the shadows,
vague a little bit. So there might be a parallel storyline structure where she's doing something that might be similar, but it's not the same. And then there's a real evil person, and then maybe there's a redemption arc for her. Maybe there isn't.
It might be like The Fugitive, where somebody else is the actual killer and they're just using
kind of like that.
Either way, that's not usually the Star Wars universe.
I hope it would be. That'd be awesome. Or at least relatively way better than what they usually go for anyway.
That's true.
I guess I shouldn't use... I used the word awesome. Using the word awesome is probably overdone. So, I don't know. Interesting, I guess.
Yeah, but we'll see. The one thing I got concerned with was early in the development, they were trying to push that the dark side of the Force is misunderstood. It's not just about evil. It's about other things that the Jedi don't agree with, and it's supposed to be more of a good and evil are equal. They're
afraid. Number one, that's been discussed before. That's the Grey Jedi thing.
Yes.
Where you can use dark side stuff as long as your purpose is correct and you have the discipline to stop using it.
When it's no longer necessary.
You don't go too far with it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Qui-Gon Jinn was awesome.
Because, obviously, Force Lightning's dark side.
Yes.
Because you're literally using the Force to destroy life.
But you could use it to charge somebody's phone.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to jumpstart this starship with my Force Lightning. I suppose you could, I guess. I'm not sure if... Because you know how in like Dungeons and Dragons or any other magic-based world, you have lightning, and it's not evil at all. It's just part of nature or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, there doesn't seem to be any alternative to having lightning. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's just, you have lightning or you don't.
And if it comes from your fingers, it obviously makes you an evildoer. Somehow.
Yeah.
I understand why that's illogical.
Listen, I already told you, if I had it,
and the other
it'd be constant with me.
Well, I've seen you play Force Unleashed before.
Yeah.
You were like,
you were
Force Lightning guy. It was like, it was constant.
Maxed out, just constant.
Yeah, right. You didn't even try. It was...
Walk into a room.
Right.
Done.
Darth Vader had no chance.
Yep.
He is too much robot for you.
Yep. His ultimate weakness. A woman's self-defense taser. Ah!
Car battery.
Right. So, with this coming up, I don't know if it's gonna be good because if they do it the way that they were talking about, where they're gonna try to somehow prove that the Jedi Council is not good either.
Well, they aren't good either in some ways, but
Yeah,
but they have to frame it right because that's
they,
the one
they,
thing.
they framed it right. Unfortunately, in Revenge of the Sith, which was not a great movie, but what they started showing to do was the Jedi starting to employ some more military tactics, stuff that originally wasn't taught, and then they were starting to do some like secret and bookkeeping behind the Senate's back because they knew something they didn't trust the Senate, which was the opposite of what.
No, the Jedi didn't start the army thing.
No, they didn't start the army thing, but what they did do was started keeping some secrets from the Chancellor and all them because they already knew somebody like Mace Windu and some of the higher ups, and Yoda knew there was somebody manipulating stuff from inside.
Well,
the
Mace
Senate.
Windu's a great Jedi anyway, more or less.
Yeah,
he's Samuel L. Jackson. Yoda just he's a super lightsaber guy, but he's just really experienced.
Yeah,
and has done like dealt with a lot of evil stuff.
Yeah,
they're the only two I trusted.
Yeah,
everyone else is kind of like.
But everyone else kind of followed behind them.
I understand that.
So,
we discussed before this how like the duel between Mace Windu and the Emperor made no sense, and I'm like, okay. But anyway, I'm like, that's a different subject.
Yeah, that's not.
But the way I always described it was basically it's like a calcified bureaucracy kind of thing where they're not really good at changing their viewpoint because for so long things have been the same.
Yeah.
And because they think of themselves as good, anything that's opposing them is evil. So sometimes they do things that aren't necessarily moral. But as individuals, they usually try to do the best thing they can. Right?
Yeah.
But, in this context, I don't know. Because it doesn't really tell you what the time frame is either in the Acolyte trailer.
Yeah, Acolyte. Yeah.
It's not really telling.
It's supposed to be sometime before New Hope.
I understand.
That's all we know.
I understand that, but that's like
some people are saying it's supposed to be 100 years before everything. But when they made reference to some of the characters that are going to be into it, that happened way like we were talking about when we were going through all the wars and all that. That happened around the first war, with not Exar Kun.
Naga Sadow.
Yeah, Naga Sadow.
That's like 5,000 years ago.
Exactly.
Before it.
Exactly. Now, we also talked about, they're not going to be able to do hardly any of the legend stuff that have to do with Luke because Mark Hamill's way too old.
Right.
And they can't keep relying on that crappy... The crappy facial reconstruction thing, because I don't think that works with
what
fast
they can do. Is
stuff.
There some legend stuff that was in there that were like different Force traditions other than Jedi?
Yeah.
That Luke and his nephew Jason Solo, who became, of course, a new evil guy.
Mm-hmm.
But he went around learning all this stuff, so they could probably use those things.
Yeah.
It just had to be a different character looking into it. And then they had a long lost Sith civilization that was like misjumped somewhere in the middle of nowhere. And then they end up coming back, and like some of them were like really into evil, but some were like not. Kind of.
Yeah.
It was like a very small faction. It wasn't like a big thing. It's not like the Empire or whatever. But
yeah, but we were talking like, but yeah,
there's a bunch
they could
of
do
stuff.
that stuff. There's a lot, but we were also talking about for like live action movies, they could go prequels, like. Yeah.
They have a bunch of comic books, a bunch of other things they could do
that were successful, wildly successful.
A video game, one. Knights of the Old Republic was the only known good one. As far as like the old
there was Knights of the Old Republic. There was Knights of the Republic 2.
Yeah. But most of the successful games were like action games.
Then there's
a Star Wars
the Old Republic, which was also fairly good, but that's because it had Darth Magus in it, and he's just fucking sweet. He's like, I killed my, and he's canon. He is officially canon.
Because there's a bunch of like races, especially in the Old Republic stuff, which are really awesome. Like my favorite are the ones who are like everybody's force sensitive, but because they're force sensitive, they don't have eyes anymore. They can just feel everything.
Sounds awesome.
They look just like humans, so they don't, but they're not evil either. But whoever, just like humans, basically.
Yeah. The thing I would like them to do is focus the dark side and get into some of the Sith lore.
You just want the guy who can't die because he's so angry.
Yo, Darth Sion. No, I would actually like that. Even though the that would be all the Darth Revan stuff, which would be awesome. But that's a
lot.
That's all. That's a gratuitous amount.
Yeah.
Because then you'd have to get into the vitiate and all that crap, and that spanned across like several games, and those games were long. But they could do Darth Bane relatively easy. Like do a Sith, like start doing like a Sith trilogy and just get into some of that and get into some of the lore.
Well, they'd have to start with just like there's more Sith around and they're fighting each other. There's like almost soap opera kind of thing.
Yeah, it would have to be. That's why I said do the Darth Bane thing, because he's the one who made the rule too.
Well, because the first season would be setting up all the conflict that created that circumstance, and then them having to fight the Jedi at the same time, and then the Jedi wipe them out. Except for him.
Perfectly do the book for the whole origin book of Darth Bane, where it was before he became part of the Dark Army, and then they recruited him, and then he became a Dark Lord of the Sith, and then as he was reading some of the old stuff, he's like, what's this bullcrap that we're all equals in power and we're all on the same level, even though he's vastly more powerful than everyone else. So then he went looking and he found a holocron that had Darth Revan, and Darth Revan kind of gave him the, the pre-examples of the rule too. Because like Darth Revan kind of tooled with it but never completed it. Like how he wanted to run it. And then Darth Bane's the one who actually like finished it and started it, and then he killed all the other Sith Lords after he learned some like crazy rituals and stuff. He killed all the Sith Lords that besides himself, and then that's when he found Darth Zana when she was a little kid, because she survived.
Because they can also meld it with some other stuff like way before. Because like the whole like first Great Hyperspace War with Naga Sadow and all that stuff, which is the fourth war between the Sith and the Jedi. There was a guy named Mark Aragnos who was before Naga Sadow, and he lived for like 100 years and didn't let any of this. He like was so powerful he just scared the crap out of people. Basically, he knew all the Sith stuff, and he didn't let the Sith like branch out too far because he knew the Jedi existed. Naga Sadow didn't know that. Okay. Mark Aragnos wouldn't let him because the guy was too ambitious, and he fought another guy. I think his first name, his last name's like Kress, Kressh, and then Naga wins, and then those guys from the outside, the Republic come and find the planet, and then they fall him back, and that's when he starts the war again. But Mark Aragnos didn't want to do that because he knew they weren't powerful enough to beat him. Because last time they lost, like right when they left, like when they wanted to rebel, they got destroyed, so they had to run away. So he knew all about that because he was a scholar and all sorts of stuff. So what you could do is like meld the Mark Aragnos stuff with Darth Bane stuff, where Darth Bane finds out about what Mark Aragnos did to kind of like slowly build stuff up.
Yeah.
And meld it with what Revan wanted to do.
I mean, that's kind of, if I remember right from the book.
I'm not saying that's in the book. I'm saying they would.
No, but what I'm saying is, I think actually in the book, I think when he finds Darth Revan's holocron, I think Darth Revan brings some of that crap up from some of the older Sith guys. Like, hey, these guys had these ideas. We should listen to them.
because we can't get power if we're,
too busy killing each other.
right. So
Yeah. I really like the Darth Bane story. I really like Darth Zana's story.
well, the other problem is that Star Wars is too based on the dark side aren't the protagonists.
Yeah.
They're always the antagonists. I'm not saying you should portray them as like good guys or whatever.
No, by no means. Even in this book, it doesn't. It starts Darth Bane's character out as just like a miserable minor young guy who's fucking miserable, and he's living his life, and then he freaks out, nearly kills a guy. Then he gets a whole bunch of old Republic troopers mad at him because he was letting he was like using the Force to enrage everybody and throw everybody off, and he lost control of it, and he almost made a whole bunch of people kill each other for no reason other than they were all in the same room together. And that's when the Sith found him and they recruited him in the army in the basic parts.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's using all his Force powers that he doesn't know how to control or really understand to do like all the precognition stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he becomes part of this like elite group of people that he like completes all these missions that should never have worked, but he's using the Force accidentally.
Mm.
And that's when the Dark Lords recruit him and try to turn him into Bane.
The only actor in the Acolyte show I really care about is the girl who was X-23 in Logan.
Really?
Yep, Daphne Keane. She's 19
She's
now.
good.
She's 19 now.
Yeah, well, she's good. So that should be fine.
She looks basically the same, except just taller.
Fair enough.
In different ways, other ways, of course, but so yeah, maybe. Well, I'm just saying the actors. I usually don't blame the actors.
No,
unless
like,
they start spouting off, unless they start spouting off like what's her name from Ms. Marvel.
Yeah.
Or Captain Marvel, or whatever should I say?
Oh my God, what is her name?
Brie Larson.
Brie Larson. I hated her.
She's a wooden block of a person.
Yeah, absolutely. So she's
a wooden flesh-colored robot. What?
Do you think the Acolyte's going to be good though? Or are we? I know
I'm going to give it a chance. I got to say that. I don't know if it's going to be good, but I'm not one of those people that's going to. I've jumped to conclusions quite a bit on some of these things. Like I refuse to watch the Rise of Skywalker. Just no. After The Last Jedi, I just couldn't do it. Yeah. I got through 5 minutes, 10 minutes of The Last Jedi. I'm like, this is done. Then I fast forwarded to the part with the blue milk, and I'm like, now it's over. Then I went to the part where Chewbacca wasn't allowed to eat meat in front of people for some reason, even though he's obviously a carnivore. Then I was done again. So I just skipped. I was like, blah, 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 blah.
But you missed out on the best part of that movie.
What, the terrible lightsaber duel?
No.
That part in the throne room where they couldn't hit each other and they obviously were missing on purpose? That part?
No, not that. No.
That was the worst lightsaber battle of all time. Literally. Oh, other than the one where Finn didn't die from the lightsaber attack to the spine.
There's worse.
Which one? Name one.
Sabine Wren versus the one dude's apprentice in Ahsoka. That was awful. That was
awful. That one.
It was awful.
I remember that.
It was a bad time.
I remember. Is that the one at her shack or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay, I give you that one.
That one's way worse. And I would say
the only saving grace of the throne room one was that there are so many people you wouldn't notice if you didn't know what you're looking for.
Yeah, if you weren't looking for.
If you weren't people who are detail oriented.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people must have just like freeze it. Oh, he's not even close. He's not trying to hit her.
He's just the other one that's just as bad. A couple of them were really bad. Is the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka. Were awful. Like the way she fought was just not good.
Well, we agree that that her fighting style is not Ahsoka Tano's fighting style.
Yeah.
Like she's not acrobatic enough. She's not trying to attack. She's not.
She wasn't even holding lightsabers the right way.
Right.
Because Ahsoka Tano doesn't hold them frontward. She holds them reversed.
Yeah.
And everything's here, here.
And then she'll reverse one hand one way and then do it the other way.
Yeah, sometimes she'll flip one over, but that's only very rarely. Everything's usually the
right.
double down, doing flips and spins. Huh. But then
Jedi stuff.
Yeah. But then we had the sweet Anakin scene where she fought him in the Force. That was really good because Hayden Christensen carried her through that.
He carries everybody except Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, who's also really good.
Yes.
I guarantee you they've never stopped practicing or playing around with him since those movies. And you could tell, like, he was on point.
Yeah. Because that was the best, that was the only, like, I didn't really watch Obi-Wan, really.
Oh, my God.
But the end duel between him and Vader was great.
The end duel with him, and also...
Because he's like, he blows him away and half his mask is off, just like the, Clone Wars, was it Rebels?
Yes, Rebels, where they were in a fight and then he got hit in the face and it was just there and you could see just enough of it to still see he's in there, but not really.
Yeah.
And then I liked the fight with the first sister and him. Because I hated her as a character throughout the whole show, so I was like, yes.
Which one's that?
The black lady.
The one. Actually, I'm gonna have. That's not my favorite scene. Well, it's tied my favorite scene. My tied favorite scene is the one where she tries to attack Vader and Vader just destroys her.
Yeah,
without even
using a lightsaber.
He just dodges everything and then
he's blocking everything with the Force. He's like, nope.
And then he pulls down a starship with his mind.
And then rips it in half with the Force. And then rips off an entire wall.
And then they get away because it was a
decoy.
Because they know how powerful he is.
Right.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
My thing is...
And the thing I hate most about it, other than... I hate that freaking pale guy.
He's awesome.
All he does is stand there and make snide comments all the time.
He doesn't actually do anything in the show, but in the books and stuff, he's a badass. He just doesn't do anything in the show.
He just makes snide comments and goes like, "You should listen to your master" and all that stuff.
Yeah, and you're nothing but trash and all that. Because here's my thing: he's actually really good because he was part of like the ancient Jedi's like elite guard. Mm-hmm. He was like the head of that, and then he got corrupted somehow.
Mm-hmm.
So he was a badass. But I think it's another one of those things. They didn't know what to do with him. So they said, fuck it. He looks cool, but we don't know what he is, so we're just going to put him in.
What's his name, anyway?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. It's the Grand Inquisitor is his name in that. Because they don't really say his actual name in the other stuff. They just know he's the Grand Inquisitor. Because he's part of the Jedi sect that like don't have names anymore and shit. They're like so devoted to the Force. It's crazy. I'm trying to think. The other two Inquisitor guys suck too. They didn't do anything either. The one who played the one who was Wong, Wong, the pseudo dark Sith guy. He was about 3 steps to useless. But the other thing I would like them to go into is, but unfortunately they'd have to go into the Darth Revan stuff. That means they'd have to do Vitiate, the Sith, the Dark Emperor, and go through all that storyline to get to this storyline, which is, like you said, the zombie guy, Darth Sion, Darth Nihilus, and Darth Traya. Because all 3 of them are fucking awesome. Darth Traya was a Jedi that was around the mass shadow generator. And it jacked her the fuck up, right? Made her crazy. And then she got this idea is like, all right, you know, with how the Force works, because she was like super good at it. She goes, with how the Force works, there's destiny and all that shit behind it. So she goes, that means life forms don't have a free will. So she went crazy and said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna try killing the Force because if the Force is a living thing, it can die." And she's like, "I'm gonna kill both the light side and dark side."
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, "The only way I can think of that is find wounds in the Force." So the one she found was during the I think it's the mass shadow generator, or it's the something anvil. It's one of the super weapons that was created here or there. She found two survivors of that. One was Darth Sion, who was so angry he couldn't die. He used the dark side of the Force just to keep himself alive.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Darth Nihilus, who became like a weird Force energy vampire. So I think he's awesome too. And then she doesn't even, her lightsaber combat is she just uses the Force to swing 3 lightsabers around her at all times.
I remember that kind of. I don't know what I found where I heard that from.
What, the 3 lightsaber things?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just floating around her swinging and shit. It's awesome. Sweet. But like I said, you'd have to do the Emperor, the shit. So that'd be like,
There's more than a few like Jedi Masters that could just whoop her. All he had to do is cut her attention to the Force a little bit. She's screwed.
yeah.
She doesn't know how to do lightsaber combat really.
No, she does. But the reason why she started using the Force with her lightsaber combat is because one of her hands got cut off
Mm.
by Darth Sion when he betrayed her. So they'd be sweet. You said you would like to see Exar Kun in them.
Well, I'd like to do the whole Great Sith War stuff, which is a lot of stuff. They could do like a million stories about that.
Yeah, and keep it going for a while.
Because there's the comic books, which are just mostly about Exar Kun and Ulic Qel-Droma, who's like a Jedi who fell to the dark side. And then Nomi Sunrider and her daughter, and when they were a baby, and how her husband got killed by random criminals somehow because he was just an apprentice at the time or a Padawan, and how she became a Jedi and then all this other stuff.
Yeah.
There's a bunch, and plus they have cool looking Jedi Masters. They have one who's like a floating brain tentacle thing. It's like a
Mind Flayer?
no jellyfish
Okay.
with a brain in it. He has to be in a container because he's from an aquatic world that has a weird atmosphere. I don't know how he became a Jedi Master considering he has to be in a tank, but whatever. And then and then there's one who's like a quadruped. He looks kind of like a rhino.
No, that's sweet.
I showed you this guy before.
Yeah, you did. He's sweet. I forgot about him. I like the one Wookiee Jedi Master who is like extremely powerful, but because Wookiees are naturally like prone to violence and anger and shit,
Yeah.
he kept like tripping up and almost killing people because he was getting angry, slipping into his Wookiee side. But I guess he was like super proficient in lightsaber combat. I don't know, but as far as I'm concerned, is like I think they need to, if they wanted to make a disillusion of the Force and try to like spin off the dark side as not just straight evil, they need to jump into some of the other shit. Like they need to go back and not just go, oh, the Jedi are
Well, my feeling is as you noticed, just use some of the elements like Grand Admiral Thrawn. There's a whole race of Chiss.
Yes, and they're awesome.
And there's a subsector of there's a couple really good Imperial guys that were trained in the Chiss Academy and stuff. So TIE fighter pilots and stuff like that, because the TIE fighter was based upon a Chiss design.
Yes.
Originally.
Yes.
But it's way more durable, obviously, because they care about their pilots.
Yes.
But anyway, So basically, there's a storyline where one of the best TIE fighter pilots of like the Imperial era, like moved to the Chiss space and raised his family there, and they all grew up there.
Mm-hmm.
And what they could do is, even if they don't retcon Rey's thing, they could have some other female pilot, like have like a they're technically the relationship with like Jaina Solo, Luke and Leia and Han's kid.
Okay.
But
I don't. I know
that's what happened.
I know some of the stuff. I don't know as much.
Because that's the primary problem they had when they didn't use the legend stuff. There's not enough Jedi to really have any storylines that make any sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have Rey. That's it. Full stop. There is no one else.
Full stop. Luke for a little bit, but he doesn't really do anything.
Right. Full stop. There's no younger people.
Yeah. Then there's
no next generation. There's nothing to go on.
Yeah, it's always down to like one or two dudes.
Yeah, they really have to like create more characters for this.
Like, I think that's what we're getting with the Acolyte, because it kept showing like 4 or 5 people. So I think we're gonna have like a team of Jedi.
But that's not. They messed up the sequel series so bad. It's kind of.
Yeah. 7 through 9. 7 through 9.
Well, they should just. Disney, if they were smart, they just wipe them from the memory. Like, just lose the film. And let people archive it on the internet if they care.
Right.
Somebody has a copy. They don't need to keep the freaking negatives anymore. Screw it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Burn it in a fire.
Yeah.
Just let it go.
And they're poorly written.
The first one is mediocre.
Because it was just a rehash.
It was just a rehash of the first Star Wars, basically, except there was a like a Mary Sue character in it.
Yes.
Who could do everything in the Force without trying.
Well, we're trying, but access to some of the stuff.
Stuff you can't. Like, it would have made. That's why people, after the first one, were like, maybe somebody wiped her memory. She used to be trained in whatever when she was a kid or whatever.
And that would have been fine.
That would have been fine. Yes, I agree with that. If they would have been like, you were up to the age of 10 or whatever, she was trained in the Force and she's a prodigy in mind stuff.
Yeah, like, and they could have.
She was good at mind stuff and her reflexes, and that's it.
And Force lightning.
No, shut up with the Force lightning.
No.
You really want Force lightning?
What I'm saying is with their original thing that she's Palpatine's granddaughter, right? That they could have been training her, right? They didn't really know who she was.
Mm-hmm.
And then during training, she started losing control, and then she like blew up a bunch of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then they kind of figure out who she is, and they mind wipe her.
Mm-hmm.
And then as the movie goes,
what they could have did. Okay, here's another thing. You know how Luke feels guilty about stuff.
Yes.
They could have got rid of They could have got rid of his whole. He could have been guilty about whatever Kylo Ren's thing.
Yeah.
Right? But their problem with that was that, let me get this straight, the most compassionate man in the universe just tried to kill his nephew out of nowhere.
Yeah, not even because he was already dark side, it was because
he
thought he might turn to him.
That's not how it works.
No.
So basically what they could have hit it at two ways. Luke mind wiped Rey. Okay. Because he's the only one capable of doing it.
Yep.
So he wiped her, and then he feels bad because Kylo tried to take him out because Kylo wanted more power or whatever.
Yeah, like Kylo already did the dark side stuff, and then he fought.
He like found a holocron or something.
Yeah, and then like
somewhere. Okay. Let's say Luke was collecting dark side stuff.
Yeah, which he was
prevented from getting to people.
Yeah.
So Kylo got in there, got into a holocron somehow because he's a powerful Force user himself accidentally.
Yeah.
And then he gets corrupted kinda, and then he tries to kill some students, and then Luke has to take him out.
Yeah, and they get into a fight, and then Luke gets to the point where he beats him, but doesn't finish him
because that's not what he does.
He hesitates. Yeah, he hesitates,
and he doesn't do that stuff anyway. He thinks he can he can reach him. But he can't.
Yep, and then Luke's guilt would follow up. He's like, maybe I should have just took him out when I had the opportunity. Now all this bad shit happened because I let him go, and that would have made more sense.
And then they could have had like maybe him telling a story about times he tried to save people and it didn't work out, and that's why he's on the island right now.
Yeah, because he's all screwed up because he
But
he had the opportunity to stop Ben,
because
chose not to do it.
The other. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, right.
And then he tried to, take several missions to try to, prevent some of Kylo Ren's crap, but he failed because Kylo Ren's just ridiculously powerful.
I wouldn't put him as ridiculously powerful.
Not as powerful, but he's powerful enough to give Luke a run for his money, and then because he's doing dirty tricks.
Well, what they should do with that part was that the Republic really wasn't in with him because they didn't want to fight the Empire anymore.
Yeah.
Because they were like trying to establish the government and all that stuff, so they're distracted.
Mm-hmm.
So that would explain the Empire remnant or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then Luke kind of still is involved, but it's all like telepathy stuff. They should have added more of him talking to people.
Yeah.
Like to Leia across space and time and stuff. Because he can do that.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially Leia.
Yeah.
So if she's... And the other thing is they really should have fleshed out reason why Leia has force powers. I'm like, come on. They really should have did something with that because... Superwoman in space thing. It's just killing me. Plus whoever that pink-haired general lady was. I forget her name.
Oh, yeah, she was sweet.
I'm not saying as a character. I mean, as a character wasn't really set up very well. I'm like... There's so many things.
Yeah.
But basically, the gist is they need new characters, basically. And I'm like, really... I think they should probably go with more of a dark side. Not dark side necessarily, I guess. But...
No, they could do a bunch of dark side movies. What they really could do, because everything in the older stuff, all that, there really wasn't too many named noticeable Jedis that did anything really worthwhile.
Yeah.
Like there was like a couple here or there that, stopped the Emperor, but they weren't like legendary named people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the only one that I know for sure was Revan. Because he went from light to dark to back to light to gray. So you could do a movie series on him, and then you could do the movie series on the dark side stuff, and then you move into another trilogy. Not trilogy. Hell no. Maybe a two-parter for Darth Bane and the Rule 2. And then you explore that, and then you go into how maybe Palpatine, but that's maybe at best.
To be honest, I'm getting sick of Palpatine.
Yeah, that's why I said maybe. But I think Darth Bane, Darth Zana, and them are fresh enough that people would love them. And Malgus. I would love to see a Malgus movie where he's just not taking anybody's shit because the Dark Lords were being pansies and gave up a bunch of planets to the Jedi so they could get extra resources or some crap. Like a really crappy negotiation thing. He was pissed because he literally took down a Jedi temple by himself. That they couldn't do with their armies. He went in there and just started hauling ass on everybody.
They didn't have any major Jedi there.
They did, but Darth Malgus was just a badass, and like he just went in there kicking ass, taking names.
I think that sounds like bad writing to me.
But it wasn't like a temple where everyone was already home. It was more because of the war. There was a bunch of the major guys out. There was some major guys, but they weren't enough to stop Malgus.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If it's the light side and dark sides are equivalent, the light side guys should be able to beat some of these people.
Some of them.
They always act like the dark side's stronger. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, it's stronger in the offensive and physical power. The light side usually has more of the long-term benefits.
Unless you're Obi-Wan, apparently.
Yeah, Obi-Wan just doesn't give a shit.
I can get all angry and throw rocks at Darth Vader, but...
Yep.
Whatever.
if we put it into
Qui-Gon, take me away.
if he had to have,
Obi-Wan, what?
like, if we put it in stats in like a video game, he has 9 out of 10 points in light side points, and then he has 1 dark side point just drifting around every so often that he does stuff with.
And sometimes it wanders to his right eye where he shoots lasers out of it.
But yeah, I think that's where we're at with Star Wars. I mean, we agree.
Although my favorite thing is having Ewan McGregor shoot a blaster pistol. It's funny looking.
Yeah.
It
Because he holds it all awkward.
It looks like he doesn't want to hold it.
Yeah. He makes it look all awkward. He's like, and he's like, so uncivilized.
Right. With, what's his face?
General Grievous.
Yeah.
General Grievous in his little regular heart.
Why isn't it on the metal case? I have no idea.
Yeah, right. Right.
Anyway, enough of
Well,
that.
it was.
Apparently not enough.
Not enough. But I do like that because in the Clone Wars, General Grievous fought Mace Windu, and that's why his heart and chest are all jacked up, and that's why he's coughing all the time. Because Mace got pissed off and crushed it.
He was running away. I had the first 2 seasons of that.
Yeah, he crushes it and then Grievous runs away, and
starts coughing and stuff.
Yeah, that's why he's coughing and stuff, because he was like a super battle droid forever, super fast and all that. But after,
that was
Mace Windu decided to be a badass.
Because it was Grievous. This is when Grievous kidnapped the Chancellor or whatever.
Yeah.
Because they had this cool part where, like, when you know what an Ithorian is?
Yes.
The guys with the big towhead guys.
Yes.
They had a part where, like, they're trying to take Grievous coming after him, and he blew like a gigantic force wind after him. And he put his claws in the
dirt and kept walking at him.
That was pretty sweet.
And he morphed his body into almost like a chicken body to outrun him and stuff because his body's sweet like that.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
And then there was the one after that where it shows Mace Windu in the field and he gets his lightsaber disarmed. So he starts going around beating the shit out of robots with his bare hands and using the Force. And he got mad because he was getting tired, so he went and disintegrated half a fucking field with the Force.
Yeah.
And crushed all those robots.
And then a little kid gave him a drink afterwards.
Right.
Because he saw it all. He's like, oh, it's really cool.
Yeah, right. Now I want to be a Jedi.
That would be awesome if being a Jedi was like that.
Right.
Because the midichlorians are just
stupid.
Ridiculous.
But yeah, so I think that's where we're at with this.
Yeah.
We need that. So I think we'll...
And next time maybe we can talk about Mandalorians.
Right.
Because Mandalorians are the next subject, man.
Yeah, the next May the 4th. May the 4th we'll do Mandalorian.
No, we can do Mandalorian next week. Whatever. Who cares?
No, because we got to do Fallout.
Yeah. Basically, for long story short, any of the Sith stuff, during the whole, if you look at the old Republic, Knights of the Old Republic comic books, essentially, the Mandalorians are all in it.
Yeah.
Because, the Mandalorians were manipulated.
The alien Mandalorians. Not even just, the human one. They had humans in them, but it was still... The main race was still alive.
Tom.
Yeah.
What they're called. They kind of look like predators. Kind of. Not really. But they're kind of alien. They have the head braid thing, kind of.
Yeah.
Their hair is braided up, but they don't have the jaw thing. They still look like they have regular mouths and stuff. So, anyway... That's why the helmets are shaped the way they are, is because their faces were shaped like that. But anyway. So basically they had giant riding robots.
Yes.
That they shot at people out of the sky with. It was pretty fun. Visually. So that's what they can do with that. It's way cooler than some guy with a space tonfa saying, "Come here."
Traitor!
Oh, traitor? Was it traitor? I'm confusing him and Scorpion for some reason.
Yeah.
Scorpion.
Traitor!
That's
Space Tonfa.
Finn is involved in 2 of the worst parts of that movie.
Right.
Traitor, and I survived the lightsaber slash to the spine.
Yeah, somehow, and not be permanently crippled.
And then have a really, really stupid, campy comedy scene in the beginning of the second one. Where he's getting out of the back of the tank, and he's the hose is flying around, he's slipping.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That was they could have left that all out.
Yes.
That whole minute and a half or whatever it was could have been gone, and no one would have noticed.
No one.
It was unnecessary.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
We're
calling this an
That's my
episode.
last 2.5 cents or whatever.
Last couple minutes of grief. All right. Have a good night, and may the 4th be with you.
Ditto.